Hello, my friends in internet land. It's Wojak here, the jack of all woes, right? Just wanted to talk about some CEOs. Just wanted to talk about how much CEOs make versus how much you make. Unless you are a CEO, in which case you're gonna like this video. So, I would like you to pass the videos around, hit like, hit notifications, hit sub. Do these things for me, please, so I can crawl my way out of destitution, poverty. This is my lifeline now, right? For those of you who don't know, I do this full time. I have a bit of an injury that I'm working with here. Yes, my invisible injury, right? It's a musculoskeletal injury, okay? Anyhow, wanted to talk about this. And we do like to talk about that on the Discord server. I'm gonna do some more plugs here. And we have merch. There's a merch link. There's also a Rumble channel now with videos that are not on YouTube. It's an exclusive set of videos because I can't talk about that stuff here because it's more spicy and YouTube has rules that I'm not allowed to break for some things. And then I guess there's also a link for my album if you want to check it out. There'll be some video links at the end too. Watch the other videos, please. So, how much more does a CEO make in America than the average worker? Well, according to this article here, it is something like nearly 200 times more. Yeah, that's right. The average CEO in America makes about 200 times more than their employee year over year. Just gonna kind of like graze over the article here. Now, as a comparison, the typical Japanese CEO makes about 16 times more than their average worker. So the average American CEO is making, I believe it's 196 is what I'm pretty sure they say in the article, and we're gonna go read it right now together, but 200 times is what they say, almost 200 times. The Japanese, 16 times. It's quite a difference. And the Japanese CEO has recently just had an increase and that discrepancy grew. So before now it was even lower before recent years. So what do we have here? Let's skim through this article. The article is called CEOs Made Nearly 200 Times What Their Workers Got Paid Last Year, okay? Looking through here now, they went through the S&P 500 and what they noticed that it jumped nearly 13% last year. Okay, that was chief executives who run companies in the S&P 500. They saw their salaries jumping on average of like 13%, easily surpassing gains of workers when inflation is making life harder because cost of living is going up. If you see COL abbreviated anywhere in my videos or COL in the tags or anything like that, COL means cost of living. The median pay packages for CEOs rose to 16.3 million, up 12.6% even with those gains. The gaps between the person in the corner office and everyone else keeps getting wider. Okay, even with those gains, I don't know what they mean by that. Meanwhile, wages and benefits netted by private sector workers rose only 4.1%. So workers went up 4.1%, their bosses went up nearly 13%. Interesting. Yeah, at half of the companies in the AP's annual pay survey, it would take the worker at the middle of the company's pay scale, so the average worker right in the middle, almost 200 years to make what their CEO did. Yeah, that makes me want to get up and go to work every day. I'm super glad that I punched an alarm clock at like 5:30 just so I can drink some coffee and be someone's slave, right? I'm sure that's what you're thinking out there. Lord knows I'm not somebody's slave anymore. They won't let me be one. I saw through it. I'm going to quote something now. In this post-pandemic market, the desire is for boards to reward and retain CEOs when they feel like they have a good leader in place, said someone from the Compensation Advisory Partners in New York. This is one of the founding partners, Kelly Malafis. The AP's CEO compensation survey included pay data for 341 executives at S&P 500 companies, all who have served at least 2 full consecutive fiscal years at their companies. So this was not a survey done for people less than 2 years, okay? So they had to be there for 2 years to see, I guess, what their increases were year over year. Right now, the person that's paid the highest, according to this chart, is somebody named Hock Tan, the CEO of Broadcom, and they are receiving about a pay package of $162 million per year. Now, the company's stock has risen, and the worth of the company has exploded in the years that he's taken over. However, I mean, how much of that can be attributed to like luck, timing, your company's product actually being in demand? Like, was it all him? I mean, there's really no way of knowing. It's kind of weird. What else is worth noting here? Basically, the CEO of AMD Advanced Micro Devices, Lisa Su, was the highest paid female CEO, and for the year 2023, bringing in a compensation valued at $30.3 million. So, I mean, not bad. I wonder, what they had for dinner last night. Pretty crazy. So workers across the country have been winning higher pay since the pandemic, with wages and benefits for private sector employees rising around 4.1% in 2023, after a 5.1 increase the year before in 2022. So, I mean, the year before was actually not bad in 2022 compared to like this year. I mean, not good, but year over year there were some increases. But you can't compare 5.1% or 4.1% to like nearly 13%. That's over double, right? Like the rich just keep getting richer, right? Even with those gains, the gap between the person in the corner office is widening, according to what this author is saying. And yeah, there it is. They made at least 196 times what their median employee made. So, sorry about that. These guys are using the terms median and average interchangeably, and I know that they are not the same thing, but apparently they don't seem to know that they're not the same thing. So, yeah. The current pay ratio signals a sort of a winner-take-all culture, that companies are treating their CEOs as superstars as opposed to team players. And what did I talk about in this other thing with outliers? How people were getting advancements and opportunities to move up in the company. They were becoming the stars. How stars were identified usually had to do with narcissistic qualities and not actual qualities that made them good for the job, right? It's the traits that you portray and the qualities that you portray outwardly seem to matter more than your stats and data. What else should we go over here? Shareholders tend to be in charge of a lot of these decisions, although, there is a rejection rate. But ultimately it has to be approved by board members, this stuff. Like, it's like they just can't put it through. Like the shareholders tend to give overwhelming support to pay packages for company leaders. The company leader can't just take it. Shareholders have to agree on it overwhelmingly to actually put it through, right? It's pretty crazy how they value people. Now, there have been some changes. Apparently, like Netflix has announced a lot of changes to redesign its pay policies. I don't know if anyone's ever looked at Netflix's pay scale, but I have applied for work there myself, in the background for the marketing side of things and the curating side of things. And I mean, there is no job at Netflix that pays poorly. Let me tell you that. I couldn't find really anything that was less than 6 figures USD. There are probably doctors that make less here, or close to the same probably, as some of those Netflix senior level employees. I mean, some of the senior C-suite definitely make more, I would say. More than a doctor, that is. Yeah, this is, it's pretty wild that we live in a world where somehow in the Western world, we've managed to convince ourselves, at least in the westernized capitalist world, let's say, we've convinced ourselves that the heads of these corporations deserve compensation to the tune of 196 times more than the average employee, like probably you or I. I don't agree with that. Do you agree with that? Like, who's the only people agreeing with this are the people sitting on the board, who are also probably all making money hand over fist somehow. Like, the problem with the proles, with us, is that the people who like make the decisions that rule our lives are completely out of touch with what our lives are. Just completely on another planet. Anyhow, everyone, if you could hit like, subscribe, notifications, pass the videos around, I would appreciate that. We do live streams now fairly often, a couple times a week. Trying to build a community here, really. I mean, I enjoy doing this, so if you have any ideas for videos that you'd like to see, you can drop them in the comments here, or come to the Discord and leave it. You can also have private Discord one-on-ones with me. Just contact me and reach out, and we'll discuss that and see what's up, go over the details. And again, there's a whole host of links, including the Rumble channel and the merchandise, if you want to check them out. Peace.